And welcome to a brand new season of Mental Odyssey. I'm so excited to be here, and honestly, until about 5 minutes ago, I had no idea what this season was going to be about. But here we are, and I'm really excited to start this episode off with my friend Amy. Welcome, Amy.
Hi. Oh, applause.
Always. You got it. Welcome.
Thanks.
I'm so glad to have you here again.
I'm excited to be back.
I think ever since we recorded our last podcast, I've been like, I needed to have Amy on again.
Yeah, I really liked it.
I really enjoy just like sharing like brain space together.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah.
I really left feeling rejuvenated a bit.
Yes.
I think like it was, I know like that day I'd come in and felt like really heavy. We talked a bit about that, but like it really, I don't know, I did feel a lot better afterwards.
Yeah. It was really good.
Yeah.
So I've been looking forward to this basically since then. So I'm glad that we're doing this.
Same. I'm excited.
So we decided on answering questions from one of my new favorite games, Where Should We Begin by Esther Perot. And we played this at a game night recently together with our husbands.
Yeah.
And I was actually pleasantly surprised at Heath's willingness to like actually play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think he might have
actually
even said that he enjoyed it afterwards, which I was not expecting.
I was not expecting that
just
either.
because of how Tom's reacted to it, where he's like, talk about my feelings.
Yeah, I know. I know. He surprises me sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know why I like expected him to not, but like
I honestly didn't.
Surprised.
Yeah, I didn't know. I did not anticipate him enjoying it.
Yeah.
I don't know. He surprises me.
Yeah.
I
had a good time.
Yeah,
it was really fun.
It was fun.
I'm glad that I almost didn't bring it.
Yeah.
Because of how, like, Tom's been like, oh, my God, we're going to play that game. And I was like, I don't want it to be like that. And he was like, I will actually do my best to sell it to them. He's like, I will do my best to make sure that they want to play this.
Yeah.
So, I guess, without further ado, do you want to go first since you're the guest?
First. Sure. Let's see. Okay. I would sell everything I have to be able to. Okay. Do I ask you? Do I ask myself?
Nope, this is for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would sell everything I have to be able to. That's a really hard one.
It is.
Truly, there's a few things that it makes me think about. And it's because we were just talking about like permanence, right? Mm-hmm. Being able to freeze moments in time and like stay there. That would be nice. When you think about like dogs or like family and like periods of time where you've been really happy. Or like another thing I think about is like sometimes I feel like I've deleted past memories, like they're just gone. Mm-hmm. You'll talk to friends and be like, "Oh, remember that time?" Like, no, I do not. I legitimately do not remember that.
Me and Ashley all the time.
Yeah,
she's like, "You remember that time?" Absolutely not.
Like, I did that? Really?
Absolutely not. Weird.
Yeah. So I'm like, it would be nice to have those back. But to be able to continue to have space to learn new things and put other things in my brain.
Right.
So I think those are the two things that I would sell everything I have to be able to do.
Right.
Yeah. Freezing time in particular. Or like making my dogs immortal.
Would you have to sell your dogs though? Because that's like one of the things you have. Are we talking possessions?
I don't consider
I don't consider my dog's possessions.
Yeah.
The government does.
I know the government does. I don't. So
I think the dogs stay out of this.
I think that would consider inanimate objects.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll sell the cats.
Your family.
I'll sell the cats. That's fine. They can go.
You said Artemis can go.
Anyone
Get her
can
out
have
of my space, please.
She's not even the worst one.
To a good home.
Yeah. This week we came out and one of us had left the pantry door open. And this is why you don't have cats if you want a nice life, is that they like somehow scaled the shelves and found their food bag that had like not a whole lot of food left in it, but enough like we had filled up our main container and like had a little left over.
Okay.
And dragged it out of the pantry and ripped the bag open and just ate all the food out of it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. You can't leave anything. You can't leave anything around. I've made the mistake many times leaving like dog treats out. They'll just rip it open. And we literally cover the house in spike traps, and they'll climb the spike traps and still take it.
This is leverage, actually. Yeah. Thanks for putting that there.
Evil. I don't know how they're not bothered, because I'm like, I put my hand on them. Like, I wouldn't walk on that with my bare feet. It'd be like walking on like a sea of Legos. Yeah. Honestly.
No, thank you.
No,
thank you.
No, I don't understand.
They're soft little toe beans.
Probably not at this point.
After all of the time
mountain climbing feet. Those cats.
Oh my god.
What?
So funny.
What would you sell everything for?
Oh, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't sell anything to be able to do anything?
Probably not.
Interesting.
No, I don't. I'm not really confident enough in any other idea that I can come up with of a way to live my life that would be worth giving up like what I have now.
Yeah, that's fair.
That makes sense. Like, I've been very intentional about the things that I collect.
Yeah. Okay.
And so like all of the things that I have are the things that I want. And so if I sold it all, I would probably just like spend I just want to like get it all back.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm also like really sentimental about stuff. And so, I mean, belongings, I'm like selling my childhood photos most likely. And like that would bum me out real bad.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess I didn't think
about... Like, nobody would really want them.
Yeah,
no one would buy them.
Gonna buy those.
But if it's, like, everything...
Yeah.
And I very much think in, like, a black and white in a situation like that.
Right.
Like, everything means everything.
Right.
That's inanimate. So...
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I don't feel confident enough, like, giving something else up. Like, I don't have a time in my life that I particularly like more than the time that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
You know, like they've all been kind of like,
yeah,
like they have their own peaks and valleys that I'm not super keen on like revisiting anytime soon.
Fair. Yeah. I don't necessarily want to go back in time. I don't.
Right. You want to stop your dogs from having to die soon.
Yeah. Yeah. That
like
really,
aging
and I think, I think about it from like, the standpoint of like, if my house burnt down, what would I get out of it?
Right.
Heath and the dogs, maybe the cats.
Yeah.
Depends how bad the fire was. That's awful.
They'd probably make it out
they
themselves,
probably would.
Honestly.
They probably would. Cats are the only animals that will revert to being like undomesticated.
Wild? Yeah.
They can just go survive.
Yes. Yeah. They said, you're not going to feed me dinner.
Yeah.
I'll catch myself a mouse.
Yeah. Oh, you died? Okay, I'll just eat you.
Literally. Yeah. Let's go. You've smelled good for a while.
They're fine. They're fine cats. I would never intentionally hurt them.
Right.
Just saying I'm not going to risk my life for them, though.
Yeah.
The dogs, yes.
Yeah.
Because they are my children. But no, and I'm not a collector. Like, I've never been super attached to things. Like, I don't have a favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be sad to, like, sell my Kindle.
Right.
Which I think I was trying to tell you this earlier. I, like, intentionally bought a Kindle for myself this year because I was like, I'm going to read more. And I have been. I actually am reading, like, a book or two a week. Which, like, if I could, like, get back into the habit of reading, I think I would be a bit happier because it's something I used to really enjoy.
Right. And it makes you feel like you're actually, like, doing something, too.
Yeah.
Like, you've completed something.
Even though you're not doing anything productive.
Well, and also, I think a Kindle, I would be much more likely to actually read a book. Like, if I'm on my phone, because I can get the book on my phone, I'm not going to read.
That's exactly why I got the Kindle.
Yeah.
And because I, like, realistically, I'm not going to cart around a book anymore.
Right.
Which makes me so sad. But it's in my purest heart. It is.
And also, you can be reading whatever you want to be reading.
It's true.
And nobody's going to be able to see what you're eating.
Exactly. I've been reading a lot of spicy fae romance novels.
Exactly. You don't have to put that cover out to nobody.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Read away.
Yeah. But no, I understand. It really is like, I think I would like to preserve my memories better and then prevent my dogs from aging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I don't know. I would, the more that I think about it, to have like if I could keep a few things, right? Like if I could pick a few things to keep.
Well, couldn't that be part of,
if I could have like my bed?
Yeah. Couldn't that be part of your negotiation? Like, I would sell everything I have to be able to keep my bed and my dogs from getting old. Right? Like, to keep this crate of things, the bed, and then this other thing.
Yeah, because it would be pretty sick to have like regular coping skills.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like to have I don't know if a regular brain happens, but, and I don't know if I would necessarily change it, but nihilism runs a big amount of space in my brain.
Can you explain what that means?
Like at the end of the day, there's no point in life. Right?
Yeah.
And so like trying to get motivation for things, it's like, why are we really doing this when in the end there's no point? I try to be on the side of optimistic nihilism, which is like, there's no point in life, which means that I get to create whatever I want out of it. Right? Yeah. Like, I'm here for a short time. Like, make the most out of the time that I have. So on my best days, it's that. But like, I don't know. There's definitely some like rough days where I'm just like feel overwhelmed by the society that we live in and by like the rules and like the way that I have to live my life to fit in with society, of like even just having a job. It makes me sound lazy to not want to have a job, but like I want my job to be farming some actual food. Like, I actually want that to be my job. I want to fix up my house. I want to, like, build some shit.
Yeah.
I want to actually, like, go back in time to where, it was simpler. We were just figuring shit out. Right. Now we have, like, 60 years of somebody else's idea that we're keeping up with and getting paid for. And I don't like it. I don't love it. I'm not, like, in love with life. I'm not in love with the way that society is ran, Right. And if I could change that about, like, I think it would be a good choice for me.
Yeah.
To kind of like trade stuff for a better like baseline state of mind to have like coping skills that don't include nicotine at all.
Yeah.
That's like fair. Being able to do something and accomplish it and feel good about myself because I accomplished it and not because somebody else recognized that I accomplished it.
Right. Or just doubting everything that you accomplished.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't struggle so hard with perfectionism, I would not be the person that I am. I think it would make my life a lot easier though.
Yeah.
Like it would be a lot easier for me to like buy into stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
If it wasn't so black and white, because that's part of what comes with the perfectionism.
Yeah.
Just like
all or nothing.
All or nothing. Which I didn't think I thought that way for a very long time, because I'm very like gray area oriented in the way that I like interact with the world, I guess. Yeah. Like I'm not going to judge anybody for being any kind of person, Like,
right.
I see nuances in all of the experiences and like, oh, they're probably upset because of this. Like, I see gray in all of like the human experience, right, except for how I perceive my existence in the world.
Yeah,
I have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be this or it's that. Like, the way that I bring myself up to the plate, I have to be this or that. Oh, yeah. Everybody else can be whoever they need to be.
Exactly. No, I get that.
I have these
it's like logically understanding that perfectionism is awful and it doesn't exist, but being like, but does it? Right. Because I'm still gonna try.
Right.
Like, I can't handle having anything tied to me that isn't as best as I could possibly make it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Which then leaves you feeling like when anybody is like, it could have been better, you're like, that's fucked up of you to say.
You do better then.
I could not have done better. Right. That was my best.
Yeah.
I promise you that was my best. Yeah. Because I don't turn out anything that is not my absolute best.
I sometimes get like that with like work things because I feel like my brain defaults to the hardest path possible first and then works backwards to the easiest thing. But sometimes I get testy with people who challenge some of the things that I've thought about. Or it's mostly when I'm like hormonal though, that I'm like, I have very intense rage moments where I'm like, bah! But I'm not actually ever gonna like take it out on anyone.
Right.
Just be mad.
You just have to express it.
Yeah. I do get snippy sometimes, but
it happens.
It's been better. Last year I went off like Prozac in February actually. And it took a really long time, it felt like, to come back to like a baseline where I wasn't having super intense mood swings and like randomly very angry or crying and like horribly broken out because I had like a really bad hormonal skin flare up afterwards. So I'm like, antidepressants definitely have to be messing with hormones somehow because it just how I reacted was like,
you're like, I know what my body's doing, and this is a reaction to hormones.
Like 4 months of PMS, basically, is what it felt like. Yeah. It was awful.
Fuck that.
Yeah. I would never.
I can barely stand, like, the 3 to 4 days that it's
I know. Same.
Oh, my God.
What you were saying earlier, I have to just tell you before we go on to another thing. It was making me think of, I was listening to a different podcast this week, and they cover like dark history type things and like serial killers and that kind of thing, right? So they're covering the Black Plague, and they're talking about the century and how people were more just themselves then, like without all the extra bullshit around. Like, it's true. I mean, when you're like bathing once a month, shitting in the street, there's really no one to impress.
Right.
Everyone else is doing it too. Yeah. So
we're all just existing.
Yeah.
It was. I feel like now there's such a facade that we have it put together, and like there was a general understanding that like we're all just trying to get by. Back then, and now it's like we are very much still just trying to get by. None of us know how to do it on our own.
Right.
You're supposed to know how to do a job, which we weren't built for fucking jobs.
No.
That's not how we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like 8 hours at a fucking 5 days a week. That's not how we're meant to be as humans. Like, some people can do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's achievable. It's not like an unrealistic thing to try and aim for, but it's not what we were meant for.
Some weeks are easier to do it than others.
Right.
When I have a lot to do, it's easy to work 40 hours. When there's not a lot to do, I'm like...
See, but that's the thing, is that because we're like meant to be productive, we're meant to be like doing the most. Right. Because if you're not doing the most, you're fucking dead.
Right. Right.
Like, if you're not going out and hunting your food, you're not eating.
Right.
If you're not going out and like plowing and like taking care of your land, you're not eating.
Right. Yeah.
Like, your family's not eating.
Right.
It's a big deal, like life or death type stuff. And like, while it's a lot deeper, now we're just doing it for money, which buys all those things. If you can't have, like, if you don't have money, or like, you can't eat money. Right?
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, you can't eat money.
No, I mean, you could, I guess.
Like, the skill is, like, the skill of knowing how to take care of yourself, knowing how to, like, actually take care of your basic human needs outside of like just affording them.
Right. Yeah, no, like I think society has definitely moved us away from being self-sufficient.
Yes.
Right? So like
we're very dependent as a society.
Yeah.
Like a scary amount of dependent as a society.
Right. Like if something breaks that needs fixing, like it's hand in hand kind of with like planned obsolescence in a way. There's another, it's a YouTube channel, it's called Future Proof, that talks about like sustainability stuff, and they do deep dives into like brands and like if things are worth it, or all kinds of things. So like,
that's nice.
For example, one of the things that I saw that was my Christmas present from Heath, actually, they covered razors and shaving, and like how it became a big market, but they were like covering also like how a lot of it is plastic and kind of shitty. There's a company called Leaf that does all metal razors, and that's how I found my Leaf razor. But anyway, permanence, planned obsolescence. So they're talking about clothing and how like clothing has remained the same cost or gotten more expensive, but also falls apart faster because it's made of more synthetic materials. And that's why, or partially why, you can see a big movement in selling like older clothes from the 90s because they still last, right? But I also am like, I know I've bought clothes in the past few years. Like the pants I have on now, I had to because like my other pants don't fit anymore, right? So like these pants haven't fallen apart. I have maybe 6 pairs of jeans, maybe less. Right. Those are like all I wear. Like, so like what are people doing to their clothes that are making them fall apart? I
usually do not wear my clothes until they fall apart. I usually get tired of them.
So what do you do with them?
When I'm tired of them, I like donate them.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I'll go to like a thrift store. The thing is, I feel bad about having too many things. Yeah. Like it's like clothes too. I feel bad about having too many things of like not having it be worn. But I go shopping at thrift stores when I'm looking for clothes. So then I'm just like sending it back.
Yeah. Okay. It's like catch and release program.
That's basically what I do. Yeah. It's just like until I find the next thing that I like.
Interesting.
Enjoy more. But I don't like shop often. Like I don't. It's like sometimes I get a wild hair or like I have an event where it's like I need to be a new person. Right. I don't have her in my closet. Yeah. I need to go find her somewhere else.
What? I don't even know the last thing I bought for clothing. It might have been my wedding dress. Yeah. Or my reception dress. I think. Unless you count like the fleece lined leggings I got. Did I buy? No, I bought boots. I did. Okay. I bought a new pair of boots. But I feel like shoes, you can't really buy those used. You can. Depends on the shoe.
It depends on the shoe. If it's going to be a good shoe, like I have 2 different kinds of shoes. I have the style shoes and then I have like the good shoes. Yeah. And they're not the same because I'm not wealthy enough for them to be the comfy and the stylish shoes.
There's not many of those anyway.
No. So.
Yeah. The boots I've had for the past, like, I've worn them every year for maybe the last 3 or 4 years, right? Every winter. They're done. They're legitimately just done. Like, one of the zippers was coming off and I super glued it back down.
Damn. It's trying to tap out and you're like, nope. You ain't in there.
Right? The like tread was like separating from the boot and I had Heath super glue it back on.
I've had shoes like that. You just don't want to let them go. They've been a good shoe.
Yeah. And I want to like get the same pair again. Right. But they're discontinued now. Yeah.
That's so sad.
Yeah, so I can't even replace them.
Trying to find a new one too is just it's a whole thing.
Yeah. So now I'm in the market for a new pair of boots, I guess, because those other ones are, I mean, they have like a heel on them, which is fine. Like it doesn't like walk painfully like it has a heel, but I would prefer not to have like a 2.5-inch heel.
Yeah.
All the time.
I mean, if your toes don't have to be squished to the top of the front of your shoe.
Oh, and they're not in those.
Oh,
yeah, those boots they're very comfortable, but
most boots definitely are like slide right to the front.
Yeah. I don't do it with those ones.
That's nice.
I don't think, at least. I totally derailed us.
That's okay. The
point of the questions.
Yes. Okay. The taste of power makes me. Which is an interesting question because I don't feel very powerful in most areas of my life. I would probably say it makes me self-assured.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when I think of power, it's like you have a following, you have people that are like willing to look up to you, listen to you, like the power to move people. I guess it's kind of how I take that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that it just makes me feel like I'm doing like the right thing, like on the right path, because I have the power to like move people.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I don't like it makes me feel good, but it's not where I want to live, if that makes sense. Like, I don't love being like power also comes with responsibility. That's like the downside of the power part for me.
Right.
It's like there's the responsibility of like if you're moving people, then like you have to take the accountability for like if you move them in the wrong direction.
Right.
Which is hard. I don't like that part of it where it's like you're responsible for
the outcomes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way that the power like takes control of, because usually the person in power isn't the only person in power, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
There's usually like people around them that are also playing a role in it.
Right.
Anyway, I'm taking it too deep. What about you?
I don't know.
Taste of power.
I can't think of many times where I've had a taste of power.
Right. I feel that. Or like where you're like seeking it out. It's not necessarily something that I've sought out.
No. I think the taste of power. I mean, I think it depends, right? Like that it probably comes in a bunch of different forms. And like what I mean by that is like the most recent example I can think of is getting married and like being a bride, right? Mm-hmm. Like technically you should have power in that.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like I feel like in that instance that power came with like everyone looking at you.
So much responsibility.
Yeah, and it's not even like necessarily like it's like having people like watch you and be invested in what you're doing, but also making sure that they like enjoy food and have fun.
Right.
And like everyone's doing what they're supposed to do. And like a lot of shit just goes wrong with weddings. Yeah. You know, everyone like tells
the stage crew, but also the actor.
Right. 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 And the financier.
Yes. Yes. You are the director. You are.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do it all.
Yeah. You're just not like the backstage staff.
Right.
You got other people to do that for you.
But you have to, like, you're the leader of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you are, like, in a way in charge.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Trying to make sure everything's like the conductor.
Yeah. And even then, I still learned things just recently about my wedding that like they were like, oh yeah, we just weren't gonna tell you. So it's just, I don't know.
What happened? I'm curious.
Oh, well, this one was more of a funny thing. One of my bridesmaids got very drunk and spilled a like Truly or something into our card box.
Oh no!
I literally just found that out like a month ago. And
she never told you.
Yeah, no.
You never cleaned it up?
Yeah, no, I guess not. I mean, I didn't know. I literally didn't. I think Keith saw her do it, but it wasn't a big deal. Nothing was ruined. It was fine.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
It just dried.
Yeah. And then just other stuff with like things not being set up while we were out taking pictures and you know, it's fine. It's over and done with.
Yeah,
except for all the thank
when you
you
spend
cards.
all that time planning something
And the money.
and the money, the headspace, the amount, I mean months.
Yeah.
Months.
Yeah.
And the time that you're not getting paid.
Right.
Like it's the labor of love at this point.
There's
the financial
time you're
investment.
paying money.
Yes.
Just to be so stressed.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I'm using that as like my only recent example of having a taste of power, I'm like, I don't want it.
Take it back.
Yeah.
Let somebody else have it.
Like,
I'll be a bridesmaid. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I was fine. I don't think I got super bossy or bitchy. I probably had some moments, but like,
yeah.
And maybe, because to me, like where my brain goes is like trying to keep things fair. I think that's like what I strive for is to like have balance places and like create balance with people. Mm-hmm. So like if I am unhappy with something and have proof for it, if I'm like look, this legitimately was messed up, like I feel like there should be some sort of recourse for that, like or at least an apology, you know, things like it. Just, what was my point of that? I don't know what the point of that, where I was going. I just know for me, like there are times where I will dig in and continue to push my point, but I don't think I have the stamina to do that all the time. And
hold the power, to keep the power.
Right. Because I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, like, there are things that I probably really could have pushed about after the fact. Just like you have the same things, you know, similar but different.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. It's just exhausting. Yes. I'd rather be responsible just for myself and like get as high as I can, like at work.
Through your own means, for your own reasons.
Yeah, and you were talking about work, and you know what's really funny is that you also said this is like your coping skills. You'd wish you'd have coping skills where you didn't have to feel like people were praising you for what you were doing. But like, that's legitimately why I want to do well at work. Right. Essentially, you know?
Yeah. Like, that's why I want to do well at home. That's why I want to do well at work. That's why I want to be a good, like, I want to be a good wife to maintain my relationship, but it's very much to like I want to feel good about the things that I'm doing. Right. You know? Right. And like, I think there's a big part of that that's just human, but like there's another part of it that's like, you don't have to stop there. Yeah. Like it kind of feels like a problem to me. Yeah. After that, like after yesterday with Tom, I was just like, this might be a problem. Yeah. You know, because like, yeah, he can reassure me, right? He can. Yeah. And he does. It's also not his job. Like he's with me and he does it because he loves me. Right. It's not his job though. Right. It's my job to like not need it as much as I do, because I fucking need it. Like I really do. Yeah. Like it means a lot to me to hear it, to the point where like I'll be like, fuck you. If I feel like I did something, like went out of my way to do something. And the thing is, you don't always know about it. Right.
Right.
You know, and that's the part that's fucked up. And I know that it is. Like, I see that it's like a fault in me. I just can't like not. Like, I literally can't not.
Yeah.
I feel some type of way about needing some praise, you know?
No, I get that.
But I think that might be why I started picking up responsibilities in the first place. Like, I think that's why I've overpromised myself for much of my life.
Oh,
is for the praise.
Right.
And so I, like, maybe that's, like, what bred my perfectionism.
Okay.
Right? Is that, like, need to get the validation, and the validation comes from doing things, like, better than expected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there's the baseline of how people will, like, show up to a task, but then there's how I'm going to show up to a task. Not saying that it's better, but it's definitely going to be more intentional, whether that pays out in my favor or not.
Right.
It's going to be more intentional.
Right.
Because I have to do it perfect.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so then when you're like, I did everything fucking right in this, and someone's like, it could have been better. I see room for improvement over here. It's just like, how dare you say something like that to me? And like, I can rationalize it, and I can step back from the emotion and be like, that's kind of weird to get that upset about it. But it doesn't stop the fact that I get upset any less.
Right.
Yeah, at work, at home, like, I very much need that. And yeah, I do think that it comes from like perfectionism, the birth of perfectionism. And it feeds that, which then it's like, I don't necessarily want that.
Right.
You know, because then it's still all of my, like, I don't think of myself as somebody who has low self-esteem, because like, I know what I bring to the table.
Yeah.
I've worked really hard to be an asset to other people.
Yeah.
You know, like I've worked really hard to be someone that is like a good person in other people's lives, that uplifts them and like brings something to the table. And so like, I know, like, I don't feel like I have a low self-esteem in that sense. Like, I know who I am and I know how I show up. But it's also because I don't give myself like any other choice than to do that. And it's like, do I want to be that person? I don't think I've ever asked myself that question.
Interesting.
I feel like I do, because it gives me that like reward, but yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if I can like say without a doubt that, I mean, I know I don't have a high self-esteem. That I do know. And I always assumed it was because of physical things. It's definitely like physically, body dysmorphia is a thing. But thinking about like bringing things to the table for other people, like sometimes I feel like I don't. Like I feel like I don't necessarily see why people would want to be my friend,
right?
Or like marry me, or you know, like I can see it with work though, like, and that's kind of sad, I guess, in a way that it's been like, but it's also how I went with school, but not really. I guess I didn't try that hard at school, but I also was not medicated for ADHD at that point either.
Yeah,
but like at work, I know like I will beat my head against a problem until I figure it out.
Right.
Even if it takes me forever. That just means I'll work harder and faster on the easier things. Or be like blatantly honest about how long it's taking me to think through a problem.
Right.
Or research it, because I started at a disadvantage from everyone else on my team who like knew something about what they were doing. Yeah. But yeah, no, it makes me think of my last like bout in therapy, where I went in because I found that when I had a conflict in my life, I was asking everyone their opinion, right? To get their feedback to make my own opinion. And it was bothering me. I was also having some like emotional outbursts. It's the best way I can describe it. But it basically, the therapist had asked me if I like trusted myself. And I was like, I don't know. Because some of the things I've done thus far in my life to get me to this point. Yeah.
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 No, I feel that.
But I don't think I do that as much. And I do think part of it probably is more related to how I was raised than anything else. Like perfectionism, I feel like is a control thing just as much as the trying to be the best,
right.
The perfect,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because I was out of control in other areas.
Yeah.
Like I was always fat and ugly, right? Air quotes.
Right, that. Right. That's how you felt about yourself.
But I was like, if I was fucking smart and like got good grades and did really well, like as long as I knew I was sharp and funny, like I still had valid. There was a reason for me to be here.
It makes it makes up for the.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a sad way to look at it.
I know. I mean, I'm trying to like get, not that I feel that way now. Right. I'm trying to think of like.
I'm like thinking of young Amy and just like, damn.
Yeah.
Sucks to feel that way.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. But like.
Teenage girls are fucking mean.
Oh, yeah.
God.
And I was a weirdo. But so like thinking about it, like we were talking about adult child of alcoholics, yep. ACOAs. In thinking about like the control thing, right? Like if I am able to plan everything ahead and minimize my risk,
right,
like it limits the amount of crazy that could happen down the road. Mm-hmm. Or if I have multiple like exit plans for a certain situation,
you're never going to get caught off guard.
Yeah. And I think the asking for validation for like how I was thinking about a conflict is just as much related to that, because it's something like when you are living with someone who just randomly like flies off the panhandle for no reason.
Right.
I think that does things to, you're like, am I wrong? Like, Mm-hmm. So I feel less bad about that now. And I don't think I do it as much. I do sometimes still.
It happens.
And I do randomly get like indignant about things.
I don't know if I know what that word means.
I feel like I know, and I'm just too tired to fully explain it.
You're like, I'm not sure how to talk.
It's like I'm pretty sure it's like a prideful, like, hold on. Feeling or showing anger or annoyance at what is perceived as unfair treatment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see how that plays out.
Yeah. But I don't know. How do we get their power?
Yeah.
I feel like when you're thinking about it, I'd also think about your childhood in terms of it too. I don't think it's necessarily a character fault of yours.
Right.
But maybe like a inclination to be that way, and then a seed got planted and it just grew, and I mean, when I think about it, I got a lot of like secondhand, like my mom would tell other people about how cool I am, right? Mm-hmm. So there was like a lot of validation that way, where she wouldn't necessarily say it to me, but I knew that she felt that way because she would tell other people about it, right? Mm-hmm. Like I feel like there's a part of it where I'm like removed, from like the I want to say decision making, but that's not what I was gonna say. Where I'm like,
like it's not happening to me. Right. Right. Like the comment wasn't happening to me. She was just like saying it to somebody else. And like to a certain point, I trust other people's perception of me more than I trust myself, because I know how often my intentions can be really fucking good and just be like completely taken the wrong way.
Yeah.
So like how you said you'll go to other people with like asking for input on an argument. I do that same shit because I'm like, can I trust myself? Like, am I crazy?
Yeah.
Am I the one? Like, I want to make sure that I'm not the one that's like in that situation being the one like in the wrong, I guess.
Right.
Which then again comes back to control of sorts, but like the whole getting other people involved thing, it's like I have to have a third person perspective because no matter how I feel about myself, I don't know if that message is getting through confidently enough to just depend on my own self assurance to like get by.
Right.
You know?
Right. I don't think that that's something that people just come naturally equipped with, though. Like, I feel like it's something that has to be taught.
Like self-assurance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like that ability to like be confident in your decisions and like not second guess.
Yeah.
Like, okay, realistically, we both have the deck stacked against us because I feel like women are kind of trained to be more, what is the word I want to use? Like, not pliable, but kind of like pliable in a way.
Subservient.
Yeah, like where you're... I don't know. I lost it. I lost that word. I don't know what I was going to say about that specific word, but like where I feel like it is more societally. Wow.
I think that's, yeah.
Societally? No, that's not how you say it. Societally. Acceptable.
It sounds so right until you say it fast. Right. When you say it slow, it sounds right.
I don't know. Why?
Societally,
yes. It's more acceptable for a man to just make a decision and like not question it or not double guess like the situation at all. Right. Where like women, I feel like we are trained to, or not. And when I say trained, I mean it's not like we took a class on how to be like double.
It's just in society the way you're treated.
Right. Like
you double check.
Right. And because how does it come off when a woman's like,
this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
This is exactly how the day's going to be.
Yeah. No, this is how it is. Yeah. It's not perceived well.
She's a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's part of it. Right. Yeah. But I also think like if you were in those situations where like, for example, this is just, it is in my head. There was a time I didn't like do the dishes. Mm-hmm. In high school, and my mom decided to leave me a note on my bedroom door with a kitchen knife stabbed through the door, holding the note up, right? So I'm like, I feel like if you're in that kind of scenario where shit like that just happens, you're like, am I crazy?
Is this real
like
life?
I feel like that
you're questioning your reality.
Yeah, like
you kind of have to check the outside world and be like, is anybody else seeing this as like normal?
Right. So I feel like those kind of things can also plant that seed. Right. And I don't know if you have anything like that growing up.
I mean, I am also a child of an alcoholic. Yeah. So
sure, there's other things. Yeah.
I think that we both kind of like picked it up from like the same, like I picked up, you're going to see that I'm good enough. I know I'm good enough. You're going to see it. Right. Right. And you're like, I'm going to be good enough. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Like it's like a slightly different verbiage. Right. But like the intention behind it is like, I'm going to prove to you that I could be good enough. And I'm like, I know I'm good enough. Like, let me show you. Right. Like, I need you to see And I need you to validate that I'm actually good enough because like I know this and I don't want to be wrong.
Right.
You know, like I'm pretty confident that I'm right, but if you tell me I'm wrong, I'm going to go investigate the fuck out of that.
Yeah.
And try and see where the holes in my logic are.
Yeah. This is why, and I don't know if you feel this way, I find a lot of comfort in rules, written rules, like like an employee handbook or like policy and procedure, law, where I'm like
religious rule,
where I'm like, okay, this is explaining exactly what I can do and what I can't do, and that means I also can understand how I can work within these lines to still accomplish what I want to do, even though it might not necessarily be straight to what these rules are saying.
Is it close enough? Is it is it hurting anybody?
Right.
Like, you can take an objective look at it.
Right. And it's easier to understand your boundaries when they are clearly spelled out for you.
Yes.
If they weren't explicitly taught to you or told to you by other people. Right.
Right. For sure.
Looking up something that I think might be interesting.
Do you mind if I pause a sec so I can pee?
Nope.
Okay, so what were you looking up?
Okay, so have you ever heard of the ACA laundry list?
No.
Okay. It's like traits that are commonalities between adult children of alcoholics, right? So there's some interesting pieces of it because I don't necessarily identify with all of them.
Right.
But there's this other one that's like the laundry list, the other laundry list, and then the flip side of the laundry list and the flip side of the other laundry list. Okay, so
they said there's lots.
Yeah, so the first one is the laundry list is we became isolated and afraid of people and authority figures. Okay. Yeah, I'm not necessarily afraid of authority figures.
Intimidated probably would be a safer word for me.
Mine is like, if you're going to tell me what to do, I'm going to question the shit out of you.
Yeah. I definitely got there.
Yeah. So the other laundry list is to cover our fear of people and our dread of isolation. We tragically become the very authority figures who frighten others and cause them to withdraw. Okay. So the flip side of the laundry list, we move out of isolation and are not unrealistically afraid of other people, even authority figures. Flip side of the other laundry list is we face and resolve our fear of people and our dread of isolation and stop intimidating others with our power and position. So that's not necessarily a great example. Okay. This is one of the ones that I identify with. Okay, so the laundry list is we have an overdeveloped sense of responsibility and it is easier for us to be concerned with others rather than ourselves. This enables us not to look too closely at our own faults. And the other laundry list is we are irresponsible and self-centered. Our inflated sense of self-worth and self-importance prevents us from seeing our deficiencies and shortcomings. I don't identify with that one so much, but
I can very much see my shortcomings most of the time.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm always looking for other people. I'm like, do I have more? Like, are there more? Like, I'm always looking for a shortcoming that's gonna like stop me from like. It's so interesting to me because there's such a duality of like, I feel like I don't care what other people think, right? Like, from a very young age, I started wearing makeup when I was in like junior high.
Okay.
And then pretty shortly after that, I was like, this is bullshit.
Right.
Like, why am I doing this? This doesn't make any sense. Like, it was something that I was doing because that's what people do, not because I wanted to.
Yeah.
And so, like, very soon after, I was like, in my style, in the way that I presented myself, I really could care less how other people thought of me, right? So there's that part of it. But then at the same time, like, I need people to see me. Like, I need to be seen by other people.
Right.
I need to be noticed by other people. So, like, as much as I don't care what other people think, like, I also want to be perceived as, like, a good person.
Yeah. No, I think I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Because I've done the same exact thing. Like I had and still do like bright hair colors that are different and unique and stand out and have visible tattoos. Right. Because I feel like my my thing is that it shouldn't matter what I look like, and I still expect people to take me seriously despite how I look, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's what I want. That's what I expect too.
Yes.
And I like, it's almost like I like surprising people when they're like, oh, this person with pink hair and tattoos is actually smart, you know?
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel that way about being a stoner. I like surprising people at like how well I can conduct myself in society and still be a stoner.
Right.
'Cause most of the time you see burnouts.
Right.
You see people that are like not really doing much with life, which like ideally I'm not. But at the same time, I'm doing most of the things that I actually want to do. Yeah. You know, obviously there's that part of me that like wants me to be doing more all the time, but
Right. And I put away the laundry list. I feel like I need to look at there's a different one I feel like I looked at and I was like, okay, this makes more sense to me. So I'll try to find it for next time.
Yes, please do.
Because I do think that there are aspects of it that I remember reading one of them and being like, oh, like this makes so much more sense to me now. And maybe it doesn't so much because it's been like a decade since
you've done work.
Maybe. Yeah. Not intentionally though. Right. I can't say that I like set out to intentionally fix myself. Even though I have done therapy. Right. I need to do more, but whatever.
It's a work in progress. Okay.
It is. I have to, because I don't know. I feel like last time I approached therapy, and I still do feel like it worked, but I feel like I came in with like all of the things, right? And maybe, I don't know if people like use therapy to like target specific issues in their life. They're like, I want to work on this one thing, right? Or do they just bring all of the things? I don't know.
I mean, I've done both in therapy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need to find a therapist again and start doing therapy again. But I've also been, probably because the sun has been out, I've been relatively okay lately.
Yeah. It helps.
Yeah, it does
help. It helps. The sun being out definitely helps.
It helps a ton.
The winter depression is real.
It really is.
Until I gained self-awareness, I didn't know how big of a deal it was.
Yeah.
You know, like you kind of just go through seasons, and then until you're like, okay, patterns.
Yeah.
I can actually pick up patterns. I've like seen journals from times. I've seen patterns in people around me.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like we go through seasons and sometimes it repeats itself. Like you can look at how you were feeling a year ago.
Yeah.
Around that same like time frame. Yeah. And it's like every year I feel like this at this time and like
I always get a little depressed around my birthday.
Yeah, me too.
Just uncomfortable with the idea of getting old, but not just that.
Right.
It's definitely a piece of it, but also I don't know exactly what makes me sad.
I have a podcast episode called Birthday Blues with Care, I think. And we talk about just like how birthdays, they can be hard. Yeah. They can be really hard.
Yeah.
You expect to be celebrated, and if there's been times where you haven't in the past or you've been like disappointed by the way that people showed up for you.
Yeah.
Because like as a kid, you're taught that your birthday is special and it means something. And like that day, people can fuck with you on any other day of the year, but that day, that's yours.
Yeah.
It's the one day where like you're not going to get picked on.
Right.
Like you don't have to do the chore today or whatever it is. Right. You know, you just get treated a little special.
Yeah.
But that stops happening at a certain point.
It
if it even happened.
Yeah.
Like some people, it doesn't even happen that way at all.
It's true. But I don't know. I always had, well, I believe in birthday luck. So I manifest birthday luck. I do think it's a thing where you can take advantage of one lucky day and like go play bingo.
There you go.
Enter a raffle. I have done that.
Get a lottery ticket.
Yeah. But yeah, there's just something about it that just, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's not even, I don't think I've ever had like unrealistic expectations of what my birthday would be, right? Like, I don't have many friends around here, so it's not like I can have a party.
Right.
The last party I actually had was, God, how old did I turn? It might have been 25 or 26.
Oh, so we for sure need to do a party then.
Well, like, I don't think I've had a party. Like, Heath and I have done things, but like an actual party. But the last one, it was a prom theme.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
I love a reason to break out my bougie clothes.
Yes, I like dressing up.
I have them, and they don't get to see the light of day as often as I'd like them to.
Yeah, same. I still have my like frilly rehearsal dinner dress.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't know if I can ever wear this literally anywhere else. It's a selkie.
Yeah.
They are not your everyday clothes. I'm sure they are everyday clothes for some people, but
it's bougie.
Yeah. And frilly. And my whole chest hangs out, so.
You have to wear it sparingly.
Yes. Yeah.
Depending on the occasion.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want me to ask the next one?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should do like one more question each at least.
Okay. The last time I got caught, ...
Oh. Nothing.
I don't know. Last time I got caught. Doing what?
I know, huh?
Yeah.
I guess whatever the first thing that comes to mind.
I don't know if I have anything.
You want to pick a new one? You just grab a new one.
I feel bad.
Don't feel bad. There's like hundreds of cards in here.
I know. I feel like I should have something though. Do you have something?
I do have one thing that comes to mind. But I didn't really get caught. But it was like me and Tom were doing shit, and then both of our brothers have keys to our house, and so they usually just like walk in. We knew we were cutting it a little bit too close, but we didn't know it was that close. And I was like, oh my God, I had to like run. That's the only thing that comes to my mind. Did you ever get caught like sneaking out of home?
No, I grew up in the woods. There was nowhere to go. I was also a really good kid. I didn't do many bad things. The last time I got caught. I don't know. Oh, okay. I have one, but it doesn't really fit.
That's okay.
But like, I'm really bad at groceries, right? And like paying attention to expiration dates. So like, I often find things that are easy for me to make and eat, and like will eat them, and like that's it. Like that's like my routine. I have like a little rotation of food that I will eat for breakfast, and it's like protein English muffin, or chocolate milk and protein powder, or yogurt, protein powder, and granola. Those are like one of the three things. So chocolate milk and protein powder. When I was traveling for work just a month ago, Heath sent me a picture and he's like, babe, gross. And like, it was a picture of the expiration date on the milk, and it was like November or something. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I just forget about it. Like I'm really bad at food. I really am. So like I bought clementines, a couple weeks ago. And like, I think clementines, you cannot convince me that they don't last forever because I feel like they last a really long time.
They do last a very long time.
I forgot about them. So I saw Heath today. He was like digging around in the fruit drawer and he's like, what about these clementines? I was like, oh, I forgot about them. I'm like, take them out of the drawer because I will never remember that they're in there. But we both had clementines and then we gave pieces to the dogs.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm really bad at groceries and paying attention to things like that.
Right.
I blame ADHD. I'm pretty sure.
I was gonna say, does that have to do with the object impermanence?
Yeah,
type thing?
I think so. It's
not directly in your face. You're not gonna be thinking about it unless it even comes directly in your face again.
Yeah. And sometimes you can have massive piles of things in your face and not think about it until you're then like, oh my God, this is all I can see now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Next question. Few people know I could talk for hours about most things.
Most things. I feel like anytime we talk for hours anyway.
Yes. That's really how I am. Mm-hmm. Like if I had somebody that like I enjoy talking with, like, I don't know. It is few people know that because I don't typically do it with anybody or just anybody, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, the people that I've had on the podcast are usually the people that I spend quite a bit of time talking to.
Yeah.
Just because it comes naturally. Like, I'll just talk for hours because I want to hear how somebody's day is or how something's going, something that they're working through or... You know, I don't know. I love talking about relationships and conflict and dog training or like finances or, you know, like anything that has to do with like, I don't know, I guess kind of like emotionally getting life together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could talk for hours about it. In any aspect of it, whatever it is, I don't give a shit.
Right.
Throw it at me.
Yeah.
What about you?
I feel like it rotates. So I randomly fall into research holes and will like learn a bunch of random things about like one topic. What have I done it about recently? Remember me telling you about my friend's dad who's like one of the Three Stooges, like that's how he lives his life, who delivers the papers. He let her cousin take her car that I told you that I was like, she probably shouldn't have bought it, but she did. And the cousin had the car for who knows how long, and his girlfriend took it, who's not licensed.
Oh,
and
my
she
God.
crashed it and totaled it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So I spent a very long time reading about laws in Massachusetts about what people can get in trouble for and if she had any legal recourse. But then it doesn't matter anyway. She didn't take any of my advice. So
yeah.
But that's one of my like character faults is that I jump into fix-it mode very quickly for people.
Yeah.
Even when they don't want me to or have asked me to.
Yeah.
But then when they have asked for advice and then they don't, I get like irrationally upset about it.
Well, when you invest time like that, it's because you don't do it on like, obviously you want to help and it's like a routine that you go into and they didn't ask, but like you're doing it because you know that you see something that could be better for them. Right. This knowledge is power. You might not go after it on your own. I'm going to go collect it for you so that you don't have to do all of it on your own.
Right.
And then you're going to look at that and be like, actually, no, thank you. Like, excuse me.
Right.
You know how much time I put into this? And they're like, I didn't ask you to.
Even when they have asked.
Right.
Or I could interpret an ask as like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, let me tell you. I'm
I know exactly what you can do.
Yeah. But no, I definitely arm myself with knowledge so that I am prepared for things. But I would like randomly fall into research holes. lately I have been falling into like bird rescues and like betta fish rescues.
Random.
Yeah. I don't know how they appeared to me in the algorithm, but they did. And I'm somewhat fascinated by them. I've never had interest in owning a bird, and I still can't say I would want to, but I am intrigued by how people take care of them. And like what I've learned about them so far is kind of cool.
I mean, there's definitely bird people.
Yeah, there's bird people.
It's like a type.
Yeah.
It's like a category.
Yeah.
You got dog people, you got cat people, you got bird people.
Yeah.
It's kind of like having a toddler forever.
Yeah.
And a bird just like screaming at you.
Yeah.
All hours of the night.
Yeah. Yeah. Birds seem like they can be very loud.
High maintenance. Yeah. But also really rewarding because it's like it might be annoying, but like you get them longer than you get a dog. Yeah. You got to pass it down.
Yeah.
You got to pass your bird down to the next. You have to have a family so you can pass the bird down.
So I don't know how it came about, but I think it's because I randomly will torture myself by watching other people like grieve like their dogs, especially dogs. Or I don't know why. I don't know why I do this, but I will watch and just like cry for people.
Oh my God, me too.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah. So I think that's why the betta fish stuff started coming up. But I got very interested in learning about betta fish and like these rescues that exist because they actually legitimately, just like the bird rescues, adopt them out, which I've never really considered before.
Right.
But you know, betta fish are supposed to be kept in a minimum 5-gallon tank. Yeah. And
they're usually in like 1.5 cups of water, if that.
Yeah. And that's so bad for them. It's so bad for them. It's like the best example I can think about is blackfish.
Right.
Like an orca in like a tiny tank is similar to a betta fish in a tiny cup.
Yeah.
So these betta fish rescues will like go into the biggest offenders, which are big box pet stores, and like look for the sick fish.
They just rescue them.
Mm-hmm. And like say, like, will you give me this fish? It's clearly dying, or like buy it at a discounted rate, and then rehab them. And it's kind of like touching in a way. And I've learned more about like fish diseases.
Right.
I've never cared about fish diseases. I
now you know
what they are. Yeah. And there's one really fascinating thing about betta fish in the wild. Okay. What they do when they're mating is they blow a bunch of bubbles to the surface of the like water they're in so that they can keep the eggs in this like little bubble nest, right? To oxygenate. Wow. Oxygenate the eggs, but also like keep them somewhat safe from predators, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So they literally sit and blow bubbles. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, it's fascinating.
To float their little babies.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Huh. Like, that's pretty interesting.
The bubble just stays?
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I also learned, because again, I guess this is where my little research, it's not even research, I just have been watching like random videos.
Little hole.
It's not even on TikTok. I don't even like TikTok. It's just on Facebook. Capybaras.
The reels.
Yes. So capybaras apparently love to swim. Had no idea. They love it.
What are they?
What?
What are they?
The capybaras? They're the like world's largest rodent. Here, I'll show you.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
They're like huge. They're like the size of a dog.
Yeah.
You're not impressed? No. Your face automatically is like, I'm not impressed.
Rodent.
Well, they don't look like, I think they're cuter than like a rat. No?
I'm gonna see if it's what I'm thinking of. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
I think it's kind of cute. Look at it.
It's like a dog-sized guinea pig.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird looking.
I mean, it's kind of weird looking, but it's kind of cute. And like it's like one of those like it's kind of ugly
swim.
Cute things.
What was the?
They like to swim.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They're like almost a beaver. They look almost like a beaver.
Almost like a beaver, like warthog thing.
Yeah, it's like if they spent a little bit more time in the water, they'd be a beaver.
Yeah. This one almost looks like... That's a weird face. I don't like that one.
It posed like a dog.
Yeah. Like, look at this little baby one. That's pretty cute.
That's adorable.
That's pretty cute.
But a baby, almost anything is
a lot of baby things are cute. Not birds. Baby birds are ugly as hell.
And some human babies.
Oh, human babies are... Yeah, don't get me started on human babies.
I've seen a few human babies, like, straight out the womb that were actually like, okay, that's a cute little baby.
Really?
But not most. Not most.
Mm.
Most of them look kind of fucked up when they come out. Yeah. Just right off the bat.
I wish I watched this thing about, like, some capybaras that, like, were owned by a family, and now I can't find it again. Oh. But they like had a like deep bathtub, like one of those jetted bathtubs that the capybaras were just like swimming in.
That's so cute.
Yeah. And then they had like a pool for the summertime that they just hang out in. And it was like talking about like what capybaras do, and like that's how I learned that they swim.
That makes sense.
So I guess, I mean, it's not my toxic trait is watching reels about random animals
and then getting sucked
into
this little deep dive.
Yes. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I think the whole reason I got there was because I do spend a lot of time watching people like being sad about their dogs.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
They're like, you need to see a little bit more than just this.
Yeah.
They're like, let's mix up the algorithm a little bit. She doesn't need to cry all the time.
I just sit and cry.
Too many tears.
Literally what I do. But
yeah. I'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. It's kind of cathartic, I think. Especially because I don't feel like I have a whole lot that I cry about regularly in my life, when sometimes you just need to cry.
I saw this reel the other day that was saying something about how it actually can be like healing when you listen to sad music when you are feeling that way. Mm-hmm. It also can be pretty toxic.
Yeah.
Like, there definitely can be a line, because I've crossed that toxic line a few too many times, where it's like, I refuse to get out of the headspace that I'm in, and I'm going to be sad, and I'm going to, like, make it worse.
Right.
by listening to this music that I know is going to make me cry.
Right.
But it definitely can be cathartic.
Yeah.
If you're not able to express your emotion on your own, or if you feel like you have something, like, trapped, there's sometimes where you just need a good cry.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I need to get this out of my system. And this is going to be the thing that does it.
Right.
I don't want to cry about my own life.
Right.
Let me cry about this dog.
Yeah.
Let me think about my dog passing away and cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I do that to myself too. Luckily, my algorithm's a little better now, but it got a little dark there for a minute.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
It happens. Well, this has been fun. It's been fun. It's very late. The boy's asleep on the podcasting board.
Yeah.
So that's probably our cue to wrap it up, but I've had such a good time.
I have too. I feel like we need to
we actually do need to like make a podcast.
Yeah.
Like a segment or figure something out, because I'd love to do this more often. Same. Even though I'm moving. Yeah, I'm going to have to figure out a way to record it where it doesn't sound like we're on the phone, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out for me.
Yeah, okay, I can look into it. Well, I also, because I do have the mic. I'll just be like, Heath, I'm taking your mic.
It's very much on my end, because I know how to like record through the phone.
Right.
And no matter what your stuff is sounding like I will have this, but I'm on the phone with my friends, and it sounds like I'm just on the phone to them. And the same thing with them, like even if they had like a bougie microphone, when it comes through the Bluetooth, it's still gonna sound like it's coming through the Bluetooth. So I need to figure out like if just like hardwiring it would be different, or if there's like a recording software that I can like run it through where it doesn't. I don't know. To be continued. That's a future me problem, but we'll figure it out.
Right, because it could also be recorded separately.
Right.
Like where we're still having a conversation. Right. And then audio files just get...
Yeah. Then you have to match it up.
Yeah, that might be difficult.
Yeah.
There's got to be a way to do it. I'm sure other people have done it.
Yeah. Well, the Esther Perel, shout out to her again for the game.
Yes.
She does this segment called Esther Calling, where she calls one of her listeners who's going through something to talk about a specific pain point. And it's from 2 different places, so obviously they're doing some kind of recording from devices.
Yeah. But it still sounds like
studio quality. So I don't know how to figure that out. But I know that it's possible. I just don't know like what makes it possible. I don't know if they're recording it through a different I don't fucking know what I'm talking about. Long story short, we'll figure it out.
I understand. Yeah, there's got to be a way to do it.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, because it would be nice to be able to continue.
Yes.
Yeah.
After I move, which is in like a week.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really soon.
We need to do that party.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up.
All right.
It's so nice to have you here.
Yes, thanks for having me. I really enjoy it.
Yes. To be continued.
Yes.
Till next time. Mental Odyssey is a Dream and Do podcast, produced and edited by yours truly. The music is owned by Chill Hop, and this song is Velocities by Sleepy Fish. Go check them out. Thanks for being here.